That's good stuff. Well, good morning. I'm Nick Dampier, the marketing manager here for Express Employment Professionals of Grand Rapids, and I'm sitting here with David Robb, the director of operations here. And today, we want to welcome you to the first Brewing Over Business, where we will share insight on events coming up, the forecast for the market, trainings that can help you and your organization succeed, all over a freshly ground cup of local Grand Rapids coffee. And this month, we are enjoying this West Coast blend, medium whole bean blend from Ferris Coffee and Nut Roasters here in Grand Rapids, a family-owned business for over 95 years. But today, we're going to be discussing an upcoming webinar that we're hosting here. David, let's spill the beans.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Nick. Today, we're really excited to share our next webinar coming up. We're hosting this on August 10th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ron Hetrick, the Director of Staffing Products and Data at Emsi Burning Glass, is going to be joining us. Now, Ron's the co-author of a recently released research paper titled The Demographic Drought, which explores the current talent crisis and the coming sansdemic, which is what we'll be talking about in the webinar. Now, you might not be familiar with the term sansdemic, but you probably are familiar with pandemic, which means all people, whereas sansdemic means without people, or in this case, not enough people.
Wow, that sounds almost ominous. I mean, it's so obvious that businesses are feeling the impact right now. Everywhere you drive, there's now hiring signs, and everywhere you look, how many job openings would you say there is nationwide?
Yeah, right now there's over 7 million unfilled jobs across the United States. I think the last data showed 7.5 million job openings throughout the U.S. And we're really seeing a ramping war for talent right now. And it's not just a local phenomenon in Grand Rapids or regional. Across our network of 800 Express Employment Professionals offices, the pulse is very consistent. Hiring demand is strong, and finding candidates is harder than it's ever been for employers. Now, to many, this seems counterintuitive with the relatively high unemployment rates we've seen for the last 15 months. However, as we dig into the data and look at the current state of the workforce, the future labor market becomes much clearer. The 2020 census data is starting to come out, and it's really showing that America's workforce is vanishing right in front of us.
Wow. Would you say this vanishing workforce is due to COVID-19 and so many still receiving unemployment benefits?
The pandemic and the government response definitely has played a big factor over the last year, but we can't forget we really were in a talent crisis in 2020 before the pandemic hit, and everything that's happened over the last year has just accelerated a lot of factors already at play for decades, to be honest. The biggest factor that we're seeing is the mass exodus of the baby boomers. For a while, we've been talking about how 1 million baby boomers are leaving the workforce every year. Last year, 3 million baby boomers left the workforce, many of these still at prime working age. So the second factor we're seeing are historic low labor force participation rates. This has been on the decline for 10 years, and last year it dropped even further. We saw a mass exodus of women from the labor force. We continue to see low labor force participation rate in prime age working men, and this is very concerning. And the third factor that we see is a decline in birth rates. And that's not something new. That's been going on for over 50 years, but it's starting to catch up with us. And we're getting to the point where the number of people leaving the workforce each year is just greater than the number entering the workforce.
Wow, that is so interesting. And it's obviously very easy to feel deflated by these findings, but I tend to be a little more optimistic at times, and I see there's hope for the marketplace with the right strategy in place. How is Express Employment Professionals of Grand Rapids responding to this?
You're right, Nick. Now, while the outlook can be concerning, we definitely don't want to paint a gloomy picture for businesses. Businesses can still be very successful in the future, but the first step is really just knowing what's going on in the market. That's why we've partnered with Emsi Burning Glass to put on this free webinar, because the more you know about what's going on in the market, the better you can create a strategy to be successful and win this war for talent. And what we see is employers that take a people-first approach, really focus on becoming an employer of choice, they can still rise above their competition and be successful.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, this webinar is not only free, but will be very insightful towards businesses in formulating their strategy to attract and retain talent in preparation for this upcoming sansdemic.
That's right, Nick. And we've got a full team of staffing experts, training and development experts here locally and across the country. And we're standing ready to help companies become that employer of choice to do more than just attract talent, but train, develop, and retain that talent.
That's fantastic. Thank you, David. Despite the data, the future is not bleak. There is hope, and we at Express Employment Professionals of Grand Rapids are here for you and your business needs every step of the way. We're excited about this webinar, The Vanishing Workforce with Ron Hetrick, based off the research paper, The Demographic Drought, actually co-written by Ron himself. So this will be a very informative opportunity to gain insight on the future of the employment market. So we can't wait for you to join us on August 10th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's our Brewing Over Business. We'll see you next time.